A Study in Scarlet, 1887, by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. After returning from a long journey as an army doctor, John Watson was looking for a place to call home. He was introduced to Sherlock Holmes, a man with sharp eyes and a mind that never rested. In a laboratory filled with bubbling glass tubes, they shook hands and agreed to share a flat at 221B Baker Street. It was the beginning of the world's greatest friendship. Life with Sherlock was never dull, but the real excitement began when a grim letter arrived from Scotland Yard. A man named Enoch Drebber had been found dead in a dark, empty house at Lauriston Gardens. While the police were puzzled, Sherlock grabbed his deerstalker hat and magnifying glass. "The game is afoot, Watson," he cried. The house at Lauriston Gardens was eerie and cold. Inside, Sherlock didn't look at the body of Enoch Drebber right away. Instead, he examined the dusty floor and the walls. Scrawled in red across the wallpaper was a single word: Rach. Sherlock sniffed the air and looked closely at the marks on the floor, deducing that the killer had used a hidden poison. As they searched the room, Sherlock's keen eyes spotted something glittering in a crack in the floorboards. It was a gold wedding ring. He held it up to the light, a thoughtful frown on his face. This wasn't a random act of violence. It was a carefully planned act of revenge that had been years in the making. Just as Sherlock was beginning to see the truth, a second crime occurred. Joseph Stangerson, who had been Enoch Drebber's secretary, was found dead in a small hotel room. Sherlock rushed to the scene and found a small pillbox. He looked at the pills, and then at Watson, with a triumphant smile. He finally had all the pieces of the puzzle. To solve the mystery of today, Sherlock had to look into the past. Many years ago, in the vast, dusty deserts of the American West, a man named John Ferrier and his young daughter Lucy were rescued from the brink of tragedy. They built a new life, but they were trapped by a group of cruel men who wanted to control their future. Among those who tried to help them was a brave man named Jefferson Hope. He loved Lucy dearly and promised to protect her. However, Enoch Drebber and Joseph Stangerson were powerful and heartless. They took everything away from Jefferson, leaving him with a broken heart and a burning vow to find justice for Lucy. Years later, Jefferson Hope followed his enemies all the way to London. He worked as a cab driver, wearing a heavy coat and hat to hide his face while he stalked his prey through the fog. He finally trapped Drebber in the empty house and forced him to choose between two pills. One was harmless, and the other was a deadly poison. Back at Baker Street, Sherlock sent word for a cab to take them to the station. When the driver arrived to help with the luggage, Sherlock moved with lightning speed. Click! Handcuffs were snapped onto the driver's wrists. Sherlock looked at the startled police detectives and announced, "Gentlemen, let me introduce you to Mr. Jefferson Hope." Jefferson Hope sat by the fire and told the sad story of his long journey for justice. His heart was tired, and he passed away peacefully shortly after. Watson sat at his desk, picked up his pen, and began to write. He would make sure the world knew that Sherlock Holmes was the most brilliant mind in London.